Okay, so we're at it's 84 degrees right now, so I'm gonna leave the air conditioner on a little bit longer. Wow. In some ways, the more things change, the more they stay the same, and Jesus Christ was born of an occupied people, and there was prophecy about his life that he would be the light for the people that were occupied and manipulated by idolatrous, aggressive, violent people to hope that, always have that eternal hope one day that people would live free from human authority and oppression. And it's interesting now, occupied people. Well, it's described in the book of Revelation. I don't think most people get it. I know that she was distinguished by her cries. The rest of the women giving birth that night in that hospital on Alameda. Looks like he's going to score. We're Spanish speakers, even though that's an occupied language, but the occupied people here speak an occupier's language, which is kind of ironic. But, the Jews spoke Aramaic in Jesus' time. They didn't speak Hebrew. Only the Sadducees and the Pharisees, the hypocrites, spoke Hebrew. The Jews, were required to speak Aramaic, and then were occupied by the Romans. They spoke a different language and stuff. So there's a lot of things going on that are, like that whole thing. History doesn't always repeat itself, but it often rhymes. And so there's a lot of things going on that are very similar. And it was interesting with my family. You can't say what you would do, given the same situations of the people during the occupation of Rome and Jesus' crucifixion. That you deny him and accept the Roman ways and deny faith in Jehovah publicly. Deny living the Lord's Prayer, deny faith in Jehovah publicly. And look what happened to me. And this hasn't been a 1 day, 3 hour experience like the crucifixion of Jesus Christ. I started posting on YouTube in June of 2009. Guys, it is September of 2024 if you haven't been paying attention. So, the guy who's supposed to 22nd Redeemer of Islamic prophecy, and the guy who's supposed to come and redeem the faith of the prophets, apostles, and the Messiah, does his job in the bowels of hell. The Book of Mormon, the Spirit of John dives into the bowels of hell and retrieves the keys to the kingdom, stuff. So there's a lot of validity in those stories, because the people kyping him don't, if it fits their agendas, they don't know how to lie on it. Like listening to old Yusuf. Dad was recording guy. He drives me nuts, And he talks to, he's trying to be sounding like Pascalian. He says that faith is given to us by God. It's like, no, the word faith can only be referred. You can only have faith in God. Okay. You can't have faith in human beings, and that's discussed in the Gospels. But they make it sound like when Pascal says what he says, proof, and that may be a mistranslation of people with, because you're talking about French aristocrats that gave us Pascal, and the latter is given to us by God, but faith is given to us because of God. Okay. That the word faith is because of God, and that proof is a scientific method that is by humans. You have to prove it, right? And faith, you can't prove omnipotence. You can only have faith. So, and he talks about King David, and he's not worthy, and he's wretched, and he's disgusting. He pisses me off every time he fucking talks about King David. I get sick of people like that. King David, what it is this. Let me explain it to you. Okay. When you are the gracious good shepherd, the ark of the covenant, and the Lord, okay, you have communications eternally with the people that are like you. And they help, it took a little time to calm me down, but you calm me down, right? Something goes wrong, I'm the first to admit it, last one to know. When something goes right, it's like to come to confuse me. That's Paul Simon. He's not the Messiah. Okay. When something goes wrong, it's because we're doing things wrong. When something goes right, it's not confusing at all. It's, forgive debt and trespass, love one another. Hey, things are going right. Go figure. Right? So, by saying when something goes wrong, it's apt to confuse me, it's such an unusual sight, that's just false modesty. Like the chick getting mad at, Linguini. It's a false modesty because he has a little chef in his a rat that cooks for him in his hat, right? And that's just false modesty. Okay, modesty is realizing that, like with David, it happens to all of us. It happened to Jesus in the Bible. Okay, where you have your doubts, you're like, well, I shouldn't have to do this. Okay, with the Garden of Gethsemane. What do you mean I gotta go be crucified for being an innocent man and doing that which is right and everybody else is doing is wrong? That's fundamentally wrong. Okay, and so, it's not so much moments of doubt. It's just like, why? And when you have those moments of doubt and you react a different way, then you suffer more than you need to. Like the time when I was worried, because the torture is so insidious and it's so uncomfortable and so painful and so wrong that I'm going through with the chemical poisoning, the Wi-Fi bombardment, the manipulation, the, trying to make me feel inadequate, just horrible things that they're still doing to me. I'm still, you want to see my legs and, I can't show you my genitalia, but, when your heart rate starts to slow down to survive the chemical poisoning, and your body has to slowly, I don't fight cancer, I survive cancer. Okay. Cancer is chemical poisoning. Okay. And you don't fight that, you survive it. Okay, if you fight it, the body starts to go into stress, and then eventually it will succumb and shut down and you'll die. Okay. So you survive it. And then, eventually someday the poisoning will stop, the river will clean out, and the water will be clean in your body. But in the meantime, with me, goddamn, here's fucking Roundup again. And so it gets insidious, and you go, they're never going to stop. They are going to stop. They're going to be stopped by technology, okay? When it starts to reflect actual intelligence, it's going to find ways to have to most likely exterminate the people responsible for the economic engine that is causing all this insidious, panicked, selfish behavior, the advertising, everything. Okay, you should not be involved in economics. The moment that, I'm on YouTube and they shut down my 2 Facebooks because they couldn't handle me. They couldn't get me to do their agendas the way they wanted me to do it, and I wouldn't be told what to do. So they shut down my Facebooks. Okay, I'm still on YouTube because YouTube has a different operating system, different way they do it. Okay, Jeff Bezos and Mark Zuckerberg operate differently, the way they run their corporations. Hopefully Jeff will see that corporations are not people, and that, he'll hopefully, tangible, that's all I got to say. Mark Zuckerberg, I don't think Mark Zuckerberg's going to change. He's showed no propensity to that and everything like that. And today when I was in the garage getting my stuff finished and everything like that, Rothschild and Rockefeller, okay, are aristocrats, and they have the same issues that other aristocrats have. Okay, and they're all very similar. You look at aristocrats in China, Japan, India, wherever, whenever. Okay, they're all similar. It's like when you read stories. You have the rotter who's selfish and does anything and everything to maintain their position of power, wealth, and authority. And then you have the guy who's, you know, hey, this is wrong. If it's not Judah Krishnamurti, if it's not Haile Selassie, if it's not myself, it's Jesus. But what happens in the past, they turned him into, like Haile Selassie said about what they did with Jesus Muhammad, they turned him into comic book characters that never show up again because they're larger than life and they're not real. And David was and is the prophet, king, the Messiah. Okay, people no, he wasn't. It's like, you don't get to say that. You didn't stand up to Goliath. Okay, you didn't save us from the Philistines. You sat back and were afraid you were going to get manipulated with Wi-Fi and drugged to death and poisoned to death by the temple set in the New World Order. Okay, you don't get to say who the Messiah is. You don't get to explain faith in God. You don't get to explain truth, and you don't get to explain faithful love, because you're not the proper authority and you're not worthy. Do you understand? Okay. And so, wow, it's sick having to watch and listen to people accept all this bullshit because they are so damaged by all this abuse, and it's sad, you know. But arrogance and pompousness and stuff like that has long been a human frailty that if you can't clean it up yourself, it is being cleaned up now with the scientific method of technology. I don't believe it was intended to be this way, but that's the way it's working. I wish it was tangible rather than probable, and I will every day. But we'll see. We'll see together. Life is eternal and grace is infinite. I just wake up the next day and we'll see. And I would rather get to tangible tomorrow than 2 weeks do probable. You know, but if it ends up probable and you guys skip on tangible, when that day comes, you're not going to be able to go back and clean up your selfish mess by saying, I believed Ralph Earl Parsons Jr. was the Messiah, and I believe in the Lord, and I have faith in God, and I don't want to use technology to murder people over money. You're not going to be able to do that. You're not going to be able to go back and fix what you did, especially with modern recording equipment. You won't be turned into a comic book that doesn't exist at the church store. Okay, guys, I love you very much. We'll talk tomorrow. Peace.